The maitre d' practically sprinted when he saw her approach. Not because she demanded attention, though people often assumed that, but because Eleanor Hale, billionaire tech investor and single mother, carried an energy that filled every room she entered. Her 8-year-old son, Liam, walked beside her, small fingers wrapped around her hand. Tonight was supposed to be a rare break from her 20-hour workdays, a promise she'd finally made good on. Just us, she had told him. No calls, no meetings, no emergencies. They were seated beside the tall windows overlooking the city, its lights glittering like fallen stars. Liam bounced in his seat, excited. Eleanor smiled, really smiled, something she hadn't done in months. But the moment their menus were placed on the table, Liam's attention drifted. "Mom," he whispered, tugging her sleeve, "look." At a corner booth, half hidden behind a pillar, sat a man in a faded shirt with sleeves rolled to his elbows. His hair was slightly messy, and exhaustion clung to him like an extra layer of clothing. Sitting across from him was a little girl, around the same age as Liam, wearing a dress that looked like it had once belonged to someone else. The single dad was holding the menu like it was heavier than it should be. He was doing mental math. Eleanor had seen that look before. That silent calculation: can I afford this? Can I give my child this moment without damaging what little I have? The little girl beamed at him, talking a mile a minute. He nodded, listening with complete focus, even though worry clouded his eyes. Liam looked up at Eleanor again. "Can we help?" She froze. People thought billionaires were made of steel and logic. But Eleanor, she was made of moments like these, moments where her heart refused to stay quiet. Her mind went back to the nights she'd sat in restaurants just like this one, ordering the cheapest thing on the menu because her entire paycheck had gone to Liam's medical treatment back when he was born too early, too fragile. She remembered wishing, just once, that someone would notice, someone would help. She took a breath. "Yes," she whispered, "I think we can." But she didn't want to embarrass them. Dignity was a currency more valuable than money. She called the manager over discreetly. "See that table?" she said softly. The manager nodded. "I want you to put their bill on my account. Tell the server that anything they order, including dessert, is already taken care of." The manager blinked. "Of course, Ms. Hale. Should I inform the gentleman?" "No," she said quickly. "No names, no recognition, just make sure they have a beautiful night." The manager disappeared. Liam smiled so wide she thought his face might crack. But the unbelievable part wasn't the payment. It came minutes later, when the little girl dropped her fork. It clattered onto the floor, rolling just out of reach. The single dad bent to pick it up, but when he straightened, Eleanor noticed something. His hand was shaking, trembling. He hid it instantly, placing his other hand over it, but she'd seen that shake before too. Fatigue, overwork, stress, burnout, maybe illness, maybe hunger. Her heart clenched, as the server quietly delivered a replacement fork and gently reassured the little girl everything was fine. The dad mouthed, "Thank you," with a tired smile. Liam leaned toward her again. "Mom, yes, baby, can we do more?" This child, her child, he was the mirror she wished the world could look into. She nodded slowly. "I think we can." Eleanor stood and walked to the restroom hallway. She wasn't going to approach the dad directly. She didn't want pride to turn a kind act into an awkward one. Instead, she spoke to the manager again. "Do you know him?" she asked. "Yes, actually," he said. "He comes in once every few months. Always orders the smallest meal for himself, the best one for his daughter. He works at the construction site across the street. Good man, kind man." Eleanor's throat tightened. She pulled out her business card. "If he ever applies for work at any of my companies, any position, he'll be invited for an interview. Priority, no exceptions." The manager stared. "Ms. Hale, that could change his life." "That's the point." She returned to her table, heart lighter. And then it happened. The unbelievable moment. As the dad and daughter finished their dinner and the server told them everything had already been taken care of, the little girl gasped. The dad looked confused, then stunned, then emotional. He turned his face away, wiping the corner of his eye quickly so his daughter wouldn't see. But then, and Eleanor would replay this moment forever, he stood, walked to the front desk, and asked, "Can you thank whoever did this? I can't repay it. But please, tell them I'll pay it forward. Every chance I get." The manager smiled warmly. "I'm sure they already know." The dad nodded, took his daughter's hand, and left with a quiet dignity that made Eleanor's chest ache. But the story didn't end there. As Eleanor and Liam finished their meal, Liam whispered, "Mom, that felt really good." "It did," she said, running her fingers through his hair. On their way out of the restaurant, they passed the same booth the dad and daughter had sat in. The dessert plate still held a smear of chocolate, and a small paper napkin drawing sat abandoned on the seat. Liam picked it up. It was crayon doodles of a man and a girl holding hands. And underneath, in shaky kid handwriting, "Best dinner ever, smiley face." Eleanor felt her throat close completely. That night, as she tucked Liam into bed, she didn't think about revenue forecasts or board meetings. She thought about a tired dad, a smiling little girl, a crayon drawing, and the quiet truth that sometimes the smallest gestures no one else will ever know about, can lift a stranger from the edge of despair. Unbelievable, maybe, but for Eleanor, it was simple. If you have the power to make someone's life lighter, you do it, every time.